I am Gary Sutton, and glad to be with you on News Talk 93.9 and 910 WSBA, along with Mark McKenzie, as we operate from two separate locations, and we're having a lot of fun. And at the same time, hopefully informing you and keeping you up to date on everything that's going on with COVID-19 virus and all the ways it's affected life. This next gentleman is a guy who had it affect his business, but he turned it around and said, I'm going to help out the neighborhood. I'm going to help out society at large. He is Pat Devlin. He's a Navy vet, so he knows something about helping our country. But he's also the CEO and owner of Tattered Brewery, and he joins us this morning here on WSBA. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Doing well.
Well, Pat, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And first of all, thank you for your service to our country, as we thank all our veterans who went out there and put your dreams on hold while we got to pursue ours. So thank you very, very much.
It was an honor.
Well, thank you. And you've got a business there, Tattered Brewery. Tell people a little bit about your business, first of all, where you're located and what you're doing. I listen to you all the time in our commercials here, and I love your commercials. But tell people a little bit about the brewery and how it all got started.
It was a dream of mine when I was in the military, home brewing back then. And just after I got done with deployment to Afghanistan, I was getting out and decided I wanted to move back home and start a brewery. So I got some of my high school friends together, and we found a location in Middletown. So our main brewery and distillery is in Middletown, and we have a distillery lounge in Hershey and a tap room in Gettysburg.
A distillery lounge. I have never heard that term before. Distillery lounge. Am I out of touch here a little bit, Pat?
It's a place where we can focus on our cocktails and some of our distilled spirits.
Okay. All right. So now I am up to date. I can now be hip when I talk to guys like you, and you'll think I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Pat, you've kind of pivoted here. I know you probably learned in the military you're going to have to pivot sometimes. I remember when I was coaching, I had two words. It was called attack and adjust. You attack with what you know and you adjust to what you don't. Well, you've attacked pretty well by having a very successful business here with Tattered Brewery. But now you're adjusting by going in a different direction. Tell people, the moment where you decided to adjust and what you're making now at the brewery.
Yeah, so obviously with the shutdown that were happening, it was we all saw it was going to be pretty hard on our industry, on the service industry in general, on breweries and on distilleries. And we saw that some distilleries were starting to make hand sanitizer. So we said, that's something we're going to do. We're going to help out our community. It's in, we have first responders and nurses and doctors out on the front line that, they can't get their hands on this stuff. We have the equipment that we can make it with. So let's start making it.
Now, I was reading about this the other day, and obviously, as you said, you're trying to maintain a source of income through kind of a takeout service here. A lot of places are doing that, but you're using your equipment pro bono to provide for emergency and medical personnel. Talk about that a little bit, if you would, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of close to home for me. My wife works in the ER, so we started saying, let's see what we can do to help. Obviously we're trying to keep our people employed, and through this we have at least been able to keep part of our staff employed, which is obviously great. And then we've started taking donations, like clean bottles. We have a cash donation that we can do online, and we were taking aloe vera gel, which is helping us. So we've been able to take in some stuff and throw our own. We put a lot of money into it too, but it's the right thing to do. So we've been able to service. We're probably in close to 700 to 800 gallons of donated hand sanitizer to our first responders, local fire departments, local police departments, and local EMS.
When you look at this whole thing, how far out do you go in terms of supply? Is it just people contact you and say, hey, we're really in need of this? How far is the radius that you're kind of heading out right now?
Well, it's pretty humbling and incredible, but we've gotten emails and calls from Baltimore, New York, all over the place, and it's humbling, but it's also a bit overwhelming for us right now. The amount of calls and emails we've been taking in are pretty heavy, so we're just asking for patience right now as we start sifting through them and asking some of those ones that are pretty far away to reach out to a local.
Right. Yeah, just trying to get a little bit of help there for yourselves, too, and in terms of the amount you can make. Where could people call or where could they go to if they wanted to get involved with some donations to try to help you out on this effort? Because it's a truly noble effort.
Absolutely. They can stop by our place in Middletown. We are selling it to the general public in small 4-ounce bottles. And we are taking donations online at our website as well. There's a little, there's a tab in there. It says emergency hand sanitizer. They can go in our shop and they can donate to the cause there, as well as if they are a first responder in the area, they can go on and fill out our form. And we have a list. Now we're trying to work down that list and obviously work at the very local level and go out from there as we can. But they can fill out a form there, and is www.tatteredflagbsw.com.
Tatteredflagbsw.com. Got it. Let me ask you one final question here, about 50 seconds to go. Small businesses, small family-owned businesses, I've got a real heart for small family-owned businesses. They're the backbones of the country. What would you say to people out there in their businesses right now who have been shuttered, or people who are trying to make something different than they normally do like you are, or people who are just trying to stay open, who are serving food, that kind of thing? What would you say to them in terms of some advice from a guy who's been through service to the country and now you're finding a whole different kind of service here in this time?
Yeah, I'd say stay strong. Stay together. It's the will of the American people to push through hard times, to figure out ways to make it through, and persevere, and be strong. And I mean, the biggest thing is, we're going to get through this together. That we can't get through it alone. So, stick together. Remember to be good to each other, and push on.
Pat, I can't think of a better way to say it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, you can go to tatteredflagbsw.com. They're in Middletown. You can stop by there, and you get the address right off that website. Pat, an honor to speak to you this morning. Thank you for your service not only to the country then as a Navy guy, but also now as head of Tattered Flag Brewery. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and you and your listeners be safe.
Be safe, my friend. Pat Devlin here on WSBA Morning News with Gary Sutton.